மணியோசை இவனுயர் என்னை காக்கும் மணியோசை தேவன் கோவில் மணியோசை நல்ல செய்திகள் சொல்லும் மணியோசை அருமை மகனே என்னொரு வார்த்தை வணங்கும் கோவில் மணியோசை அருமை மகனே என்றொரு வார்த்தை வணங்கும் கோவில் மணியோசை அண்ணா அண்ணா என் கோட்குரல் அடங்கும் கோவில் மணியோசை இதுவாசை கிரவன் குழலோசை அவன் அன்பினை காட்டும் மணியோசை தேவன் கோவில் மணியோசை நல செய்திகள் சொல்லும் மணியோசை
my
சூடி காருடைய சுடலை காருடைய சுடலை பொறி பூசியன் உலம் கவர் கவன் ஏருடைய மலரான் முனை நாப்பனின் எந்த அருள் செய்த பீருடைய பிரமா பீருடைய பிரமா புறமேறிய தென்மானிவனன்றே அருணறிய மறைவல்ல முனியகன் பொய்கையாளர் மேய
This is real time. This you joined it or you started? This is it was now. You come. Open Good afternoon to one and all. I hope you all could hear me clearly, that I'm audible enough. Thank you. So today we have actually a very short program due to the COVID restrictions. So we just have two speakers at the home here. And firstly, we would like to extend our appreciation to one and all of you for being present here, both in person and also those people that are virtual. On behalf of my sister Cribs and the children Kiasha and Kieran, we would like to extend our appreciation for all the kind of condolences, support, and all the kind of help that was provided over this period. I'm not going to take too much of time. I'd just like to introduce the first speaker, who's Inbo Naidu, and who is a long-standing friend of Inbo Naidu, and also has been a comrade with him for many years. I'd like to call upon Inbo Naidu.
Thank you, MC. Cribs, Kiasha, Kieran, from my whole family, and we send our deepest condolences. Inbo was not just a friend, he was like a brother to me, and as you know, to my mother, he was like a son. You know, I met Inbo in 1965, on the first day that we both went to primary school, and we were friends from then, which is 56 years. The name I hated in primary school, that was a teasing name, was given to me by Inbo. I got used to it. He stayed just down the road from the school. He was a bit older than me. I was a nuisance at home, so my father forged my birth certificate and pushed me to school early, so Inbo was like a bigger brother. But we were at school together all the way. We played football together, we played tricks together in school. We went into student activism together. Just last year, June 16, we were laughing about the spray painting that he did on the 15th of June 1978 in the wall opposite Girls High, where he failed to spell remember correctly. He missed out an M. So it was remember June 16, but spelled wrong. And we laughed about that, you know. And Inbo was a very committed activist. When my father, MJ Naidu, went to jail in 1980, it was Inba that took my mother to the prison with the food and so on. But he was also potentially in trouble. You know, I was on the run, so I had a good excuse not to go with that. But he had no fear. Inba was there. I was so touched to hear that Rohini was here today, was with Inba when he passed away. You know, it was Inba who took me over 40 years when we were hiding late at night from the police to stay at Rohini's place, and he kept all his friendships, not just one that he started 56 years ago. So Inba was a very special man, and he was special in many ways because he did something that most people didn't do. After 1994, many of us went into the government, or into the private sector, or whatever. Inba stayed the course. Inba served his community the way he defined his community, which was his, the people around where he lived, the friends that he was loyal to, and Inba kept all his friendships in very good order. In all the important moments in my life over these years, Inba has always been present. It was when I was looking for a job. My daughter Parusha is watching this, so she surprised me by being born before I was planning anything. And I was looking for a job, and Inba helped me to get an interview for the job I eventually got. So you know, that's he was always there in special moments for me, and not only me, for everybody. My mother, when she heard this, and my sisters, wrote they wrote something which I think it says everything about Inba, and I'd like to read it if I may, rather than make a much longer speech for myself. It was written by my sister Melanie, but they all worked together, Melanie, Camila, and my mother. And it says, "It is with great sadness that we learned of the passing of our dear Inba. On behalf of Sana Naidu and family, we send our deepest condolences to Inba's family and friends, but also to the activists who organized and campaigned with him, and to the vast number of people whose lives he touched. He was a true comrade, an idealist, and a much-loved member of our family. We mourn with you and celebrate the extraordinary life of this courageous, committed activist and loving son and brother." Inba first came into our lives in 1965 when he and Jayendra attended what was then known as Class 1 in Hindu Tamil Primary School. It was a serendipitous meeting and one that sustained through their entire lives and exploded into ours. Our true connection with Inba, this is now my mother speaking, began in 1980 during the school boycotts. When MJ Naidu was detained and taken to Modabi prison, Inba, as a student and activist with Jayendra, arrived to help manage the trauma that our family was experiencing and the immense amount of reorganization that was required. He assumed the role of surrogate son and brother as if it was meant for him and never stopped over the years. He even accompanied Sana when she was summoned by the security branch for interrogation. This was no mean feat, as Inba was aware that the security branch had confiscated a number of banned documents with his handwriting all over it. If linked to him, he could have been detained as well. Inba's actions always reflected a higher concern for the well-being of others over himself, even in those early years. He represented our highest ideals in this country, one of absolute service, pure joy, and unbreakable perseverance. He was always smiling and always there to lend a hand, often arriving first and volunteering for all the dirty work, packing chairs for an event, cooking the food for gatherings, doing the late night pickups. He always showed up and made it seem as if it was a privilege to be included. He was a good and kind and gentle man, and one can say he believed in us even when we didn't believe in ourselves. He was always offering advice and encouragement and trying to make an impact on the world. Even his last act as the cancer progressed was to develop a school textbook, or workbook as I know, to make learning easier. This was his legacy, and what a fine and touching legacy it is. He played so many public roles: student leader, municipal councillor, community activist, comedian dramatist even. Apparently he also played the role of Rajvansi during the Tricam days when he was at training college. But closest to his heart was teacher. He mostly was a man with a passion for creating a better world and supporting young people to grow and become active citizens, more conscious, selfless, humane contributors to a new world. Our last formal collaboration with Inba was when he came up with the idea and became the main driver of the school quiz competition held under the auspices of the MJ Naidu Foundation for Social Justice. His dedication to young people was extraordinary. He also pushed them hard to achieve, to persevere, and then to accept victory with grace. The events grew because his passion was electric and contagious. He was always busy. If it was not a school program, it was a food garden and turning everything green. He was tireless. We owe a great debt to his family for all the time he spent away from home trying to make the world better. As exceptional as he was, he never believed that what he did was more than anyone else could and indeed should do. The thing about Inba was just how gentle and humble he was. He treated everyone with kindness and respect because it was innate to him. He was a great gift and much loved. We are so glad to have had him as our family and to have shared with him, laughed with him, learned with him, and traveled difficult roads with him. He will be greatly missed, and that's from my mother and my siblings. And a last word from me, because I had to give my mother a private place, as always. Inba knows that when she was coming to Durban, he had to go and fetch her, even if Kieran had something else that he wanted to do. She came first, in many ways. But we all have to go this way. And the only thing that matters is that at the end, what is your report card? What does it say? And I think with Inba, you can say without a doubt that he passed with distinction. He's made the world a better place. He's touched everybody. Looking at his children, I can say that when there's somebody who is trying his best to touch the world, there's always a bit of a sacrifice that comes on the part of the children, because one can't do everything at home and outside. And I'm sure that just like the rest of our generation, you too will have those moments when you think about your dad and say, you wish we had more time with him. But he did his job well for the world. He was a good man. And we thank him for what he's contributed, and we do miss him. And as his children, I can say, my bond with Inba, it lives on with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jayendra. And I think your mom as well, Mrs. Sana Naidu, and your sisters actually did a sterling job in contextualizing the tenacity and the brilliance of Inba. And not to waste too much of time, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Mr. Naidu, who's also a long-standing friend of Inba and also a comrade that served many years with him and very close to Inba in the final days as well. Okay.
Thank you, David. Thanks for those kind words. Yeah, it's really touching. When I've done many funerals, okay, and I don't know, maybe I'm attracted to death, but it keeps apart. And there's something that I like to fathom out, and perhaps when I go upstairs I will ask how this happens. But when somebody dies, they end up with a smile on the face. Yeah? Inba's smiling. And he's got a radiant smile, a lovely smile, a smile that I would always remember him by. So he's at peace with himself. Okay? And paying tribute to Inba, for me, is one of the hardest things to do. I start off with an apology. The little time allotted to pay tribute to Inba will never do justice to the multivarious and very tangible contributions that Inba has made to society. Inba is indeed a legend, well-read, high-spirited, with a remarkable positive attitude. And I've seen that come through, particularly in the last year when he had contracted cancer. Inba was more than just a comrade and a friend. We shared a very close brotherly relationship. We also shared a common goal, the liberation of South Africa from the forces of apartheid. The struggle was his life, and so was mine. This common purpose would mold our future from being comrades to becoming family. We would look forward to going on trips, and we did many trips together, and the one notable one is that when we went to Thailand, and we had such a wonderful time in Changsha with the elephants, and he really, really enjoyed that. Jumped into the water, and we did funny things and good things, and ate all lovely food, and we had real fun. And we often talked about that and looked forward to our next trip. And I was jealous when they went to India and they left me out of that. So indeed, we would talk about going on our trips. I don't know what I'm going to do now, because I would pick Inba up, or Inba would pick me up to go to some meeting, whether it is a political meeting or whether it is a fun thing or some party or some commemoration and so forth and so on. He wouldn't be there for me to pick him up anymore. Yeah, we would talk often. We would talk about the Bolshevik Revolution, Lenin's Russia, bit about Grumsky, or the Great Leap Forward, and lots about the Cultural Revolution and what went wrong in China. But more importantly, we talked about the infantile disorder in South Africa. And he lamented what is happening currently in our country, and with all the sacrifices him and others have made, this is not what he, kind of society that he envisaged. But that was Inba. And we'd move on from that to talk about happier things, because it really made him sad. We also talked about our families. Kiran and Kiasha are the same age as my children, and that was the kind of magnet that brought us together, and the bond that continued to exist. And we talk about their welfares. He cared so much for Kiran. He loves you, Kiran. He loved you very much. We will talk about negativa. Negativa is a Buddhist term where you reach a state of mindlessness. And this was all because of his current state and the need for him to forget the pain that he had and to become more positive in this negative state, so to speak. But yes, indeed, we will talk about the Buddhist philosophy and meditation. When Inba fell ill, I would phone him ever so often, and more particularly in the evenings. I would have a long discussion with him, and I would ask him, so Inba, how was your day? He says, oh, it was good. So how do you feel now? I'm on top of the world. That is what Inba would say. I'm on top of the world. And that's how he felt. I'm going to miss him dearly, really. And my talks with him and so forth and so on. As Jayendra has indicated, Inba had cared dearly for the poor, and he lamented the sufferings, and all his energy was directed to create a better life for all in our society. His contributions to humanity, to the people of Newlands, to the children that he so loved to teach, the Maths Outreach Program will live on and will be a constant reminder of his selfless dedication in his quest to bring about a society that we all could have been proud of. Inba was a master in strategy. I must tell you this story quickly. And he would pull the carpet from under your feet without you even knowing it. So I think you know Inba served as a counselor for a little while, and highly dedicated counselor. I was at that time in the West Council. I was the chair of the executive committee. So come budget time, we would then discuss what kind of projects we're going to be putting on the budget and so forth and so on. And given my relationship with Inba, we would share the projects that we are dealing with. And he came to know that I was organizing the establishment of a swimming pool in Reservoir Hills. So Inba frowned at me. He said, swimming pool for Reservoir Hills? Not a chance. He says, Reservoir Hills are all bourgeois people, they can afford swimming pools. You have 3 swimming pools in and around maybe about 10 to 15 kilometer radius. Newlands is a poor community. Okay. Why don't we take that pool and we locate it in Newlands? So I said, look, I've got to also deliver for my constituency, quite like you have to. And he says, Derek, don't worry, leave it to me, you could do something else there. Unbeknown to me, he goes behind my back. He speaks to the officials. He moves the budget from our ward from Reservoir Hills, and he pushes it to Newlands. And that's how Newlands got his big Olympic-sized swimming pool. But that was Inba for you, and he would do what he wants to do. So he pulled the carpet from under my feet without me even. He was meticulous and thorough. Okay, he had very convincing arguments and was never unprepared for a meeting. Inba had lovely writing. So he would write out his agendas. He would really be prepared for when he goes into this meeting or any meeting that he would go to. Inba had his stuff on it. He knew what I recall in the Logie, in the we had the North Central Council at that time, and I shared some moments with him where he would debate at a committee level or at a council level and so forth. But he knew what he wanted, and he would get that. When he comes out of the meeting, he would be jumping, say, oh, okay, I got this, what I wanted. Okay. So, but that was Inba for you. Okay? He was meticulous, he was thorough, and he understood what he wanted, and he would achieve just that. Inba was unique. He never wanted recognition, praise, or glory. In all sectors of his involvement to bring about social justice, Inba would make others lead. This was a phenomenal feature and character of Inba. He would make others lead, and he would be in the trenches, ensuring their success. How selfless. Ensuring their success and their glory, their fame. But he never took that praise. Okay. Yeah, he would be the one that would be in the trenches, laying the groundwork for success, being involved in many fronts. Inba understood the art of delegation. He understood very well the division of labor, and if properly executed, will complete the many tasks at hand. Many a person, having walked in his shadow, were inspired and endeared by his tenacity, his humility, his unique revolutionary leadership skills, his zeal, and sheer hard work. That was Inba. The many messages and the glowing tributes bears testimony to this noble man, a selfless and dedicated comrade, a loving father, a committed husband, and a wonderful family man. As I pay tribute to this hero and convey condolences to Kriba, Kiasha, Kurin, and the family, I wish to convey that your loss is also our loss, is my loss. When Inba took ill and having had his first operation, Inba said to me that the doctors had given him 3 months to live. This news of 3 months to live, I think, would make anybody shiver. But it didn't get Inba down. He was high-spirited, positive, and we jointly explored all avenues and remedies to beat the cancer. With wise counsel from J. Naidoo, he became a vegan for a month. He lamented it though, because he loved his meat. but he became a vegan for a month. He embarked on a journey of spiritual upliftment by embracing yoga. He would get up early in the morning and do his kriya and his breathing exercises and all that. But yes, indeed, Inba was not religious. Neither was he a communist. He was a humanist. But you know, he believed in that things happen around you. So spiritual upliftment became important for him during this short period. So that didn't end there. After having spoken to Jay introduced us to this CBD oils, and known to not cure cancer, but to at least stay the cancer and stay its growth. So Inba and I would then take a journey to Dr. Parkinson, and we would meet with all sorts of people who were dealing with this. So eventually he armed himself then with this CBD oils. I never get to understand it. But then he got back to work after his first operation. So soon after that operation, he got back to work, marking math scripts. And I phoned him late one night and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm marking math scripts." "Are you mad? You should be resting, you know, listening to some nice music or something like that." But no, marking math scripts that he got back from his students on the first maths program that we rolled out. He was on the phone with parents, responding to issues that his students raised. His task didn't end there. He wanted to make the best of the days he had left to live. Inba understood that laying a strong foundation at a primary school level would give children a good grasp in problem solving. He went on to compile the book that Jayendra spoke about, the book of Olympiad style maths questions and solutions that was designed to expose primary school learners to non-mainstream maths and to develop problem-solving techniques for grades R to grade 3. This Inba did was the lesions in his brain were starting to grow. I can imagine this. Okay? With all the headaches and so forth and so on, here busy trying to put a book together. But his job was not finished then, and he had to get this over and done with. He still made time to exercise. I would pick Inba up on the weekends and we will drive to the Westfield Civic Center. We enjoyed the tranquility there. He would walk whilst I would bike. Then he will meditate under a huge tree. We will end our exercise with a bar one chocolate. He asked me the other day, "Where's my bar one chocolate?" when I came and so I brought one here. I'll eat it after we have all in his name, okay. But he loved his bar one chocolate, okay. That was our reward for the 2 rounds that he did round the Civic Center. But he was a strong man. Prior to his second operation done in Cape Town, this was like madness, Kripa. Inba would then arrange a meeting prior to going to the operation. There is this man with lesions in his brain, arranging a meeting to meet with people who had access or the rights to the mathematics problems. Okay, he would have that meeting with them, and they would grant him then the permission for collating of that workbook. Soon after his operation, Inba enlisted the support of Jayendra to have 3,000 books printed through the MJ Naidu Trust. Clive Pillay from the Youth Center, Mandela Youth Center, to help with the layout and design. And in his usual style, he would then call on Puvi and myself to assist in the distribution of the books. He personally contacted all the principals of the schools that would receive these books. I recall when we went to do the distribution in Chatsworth, he could barely walk, and he insisted on addressing the teachers at the Mandela Youth Center before handing out the books and indicating to them how important it is to impart this knowledge to the children. When I praised him at the meeting, saying to the teachers that this is what Inba's condition is, 4th stage cancer, lesion in his brain, just had his operation, and here he stands before you now, wanting to hand out these books. Inba chastised me and said to me that whilst he was grateful for my kind words, he did not like to be praised. Such was our Inba. When he undertook to do something, whilst he would delegate his tasks, he would show leadership by ensuring that it was properly accomplished. Whilst this was going on, Inba would work on setting on the robotics center. Crazy. I mean, we meet with Devash and with Krish, and then he has this idea. He said, no, now, fourth industrial revolution, artificial intelligence, robotics, Inba. Okay, but that was, he was like in another world. So we managed together to convince the governing body of Fairhaven, and Krish was here just now conveying his condolences, Kripa. And ever so grateful for Inba's commitment and dedication towards the school. So we worked on setting up the robotics center. This is soon after his operation at Fairhaven, and he pushed his colleague Bayat, Dr. Bayat, to make available funding for the center. A few days before his passing away, Dr. Bayat announces that funding has been granted for the center. Okay. And whilst we told him about it, I suspect he would have heard us anyway, and he was very happy in his heart that happened. Simultaneously, he gets Pubi a close friend and brother of his also, to set up an office for running of the second maths program that we had initiated. All of this done during his illness. It never got him down. When Jayendra and I met with Inba, I think a week or two ago, so we tried having a conversation with him over the last 2-3 weeks. It was sad to see that this person who had so much to say could not say what he wanted to. Okay, it was very painful, very, very painful indeed. But yeah, it goes. It was an interesting conversation, very short conversation. So Jayendra asks Inba, so okay, Inba, what do you want us to do now? Because he was going ba 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 ba. Okay, so he says, eventually he managed a big smile, and he said to us, let's have a bunny chow. Let's have a bunny chow. Okay, so Jay, you owe me a bunny chow. Okay, Britannia special. Okay, and we're gonna have it on Inba's name. Yeah, Inba, what more can we ask of you? Your day is done, my brother. You lived your every moment like your last, and you worked till you could work no more. Your day is done. Your time now has come to rest. Go in peace, my brother. Kiran will ensure that your legacy lives on, and we will help him do that. We will miss you. I will miss you dearly. May you rest in peace. Thank you for being in my life.
Thank you, Derek. We just have a very short time left at the house. There are refreshments out in the garage, so please help yourself. And while we take on the last few minutes at the home, we have our violinist Leo Manicum that will play a few devotional songs. We will then proceed to the crematorium, where we'll be in hall 2, and we just have a few more speakers that will address the people at home. But once again, we'd like to thank you for your presence here, and all of those of you that are also online watching, and I see the numbers have been growing in a while. So thank you so much, and stay safe, and please help yourselves to the refreshments. Thank you. play one more.
Om Gajananam Bodhaganadishevitam Kapita Jambu Palasara Bhachidam Umasutam Sokya Vinasakaranam Namami Vikneswara Pada Pankajam Om Namachivaya Varganathan Talvarga Yamai Porudam Yen Angel Ningadan Talvarga Kogarianda Guru Maridan Talvarga Agamamagin Indro Nipan Talvarga நமச்சிவாய பிரமாணி எங்களை பிறந்துவிட்டு காலம் சென்ற இன்பநாதன் நாயுடு அவர்களுடைய ஆத்மாவன கதியும் சாந்தியும் அறிந்து உங்களுடைய பாதாரவிந்தத்தில் சேரும்படியாக இப்பொழுதும் இந்த மரண பிரார்த்தனைக்காக உங்களுடைய ஆசீர்வாதம் சமர்ப்பியாமி. ஓம் பூர்ண 16 திங்கள் சேரும் பொருந்தியை அருக்கன் 18 சேரும் காரனை கரிமுகல் போன் மேனி சேரும் கருணை பெரும் அஷ்டசரம் கழந்து வாழும் வாரணின் லட்சுமியோடன் சேரும் மதிமுகம் போர் அலங்கம் மாயனியே ஆர்நே ரகுராம கருடன் மீதில் அன்புடனே ஏறி வந்தருள் செய்வாயே. கோவிந்தா 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 கோவிந்தா. Om Namo Narayana Parivichango Chakra Padmanabha Parvasudev Achyudayi Namam Anandaye Namam Govindayi Namam Govinda 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 Namam Om Anandaye Namam Om Govindaye Namam Om Vishnuvaye Namam ஓம் வைகுந்தாயி நமஹம் ஓம் மட்புதலீலாயி நமஹம் ஓம் ஆதிமூலனே நமஹம் உலகெல்லாம் காப்பாயி நமஹம் என் குணசீலாயி நமஹம் யேஷி பங்களாயி நமஹம் கலியுக வரதாயி நமஹம் கண்கண்ட தேவதி நமஹம் கருடவாகனாயி நமஹம் கோவிந்தாயி நமஹம் தாமோதராயி நமஹம் கேசவாயி நமஹம் ஓம் மதுசூதனாயி நமஹம் வெங்கடநாதாயி நமஹம் வெங்கடரமணாயாயி நமஹம் சூர்யாயி நமஹம் சந்திராயி நமஹம்
Be careful, come back. Okay, lift it up again. Pick it up. Come back. Go back.
Go back. Put on the
Come back.
Put it back up.
That's You touch one. You could take time or you just
I'll meet you there.
ॐ शुक्लाम्बरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं सदर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं व्याजे सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव वन्दनार्मृत्योर्मोक्षये मामृतर्निष्ठा ॐ गङ्गा यमुना सैवत्कोदावरी सरस्वती नर्मदा सिन्धु कावेरी समर्पयामि Om Punyagavajanayi Namaha Om Namah Shivaya Namaha Sarvapata Ya upset As the earth moves, somebody please remove this.